Today we are taking a look at Reigns Her Majesty, a strategy puzzle game developed by Nerial and published by Devolver Digital. Reigns Her Majesty is a follow-up to the original Reigns game. In Reigns Her Majesty, you are the queen of a kingdom and are tasked with making decisions that will affect life in the kingdom. The game begins with the player being crowned as the new queen, where you're prompted to make your first decision by swiping left or right to answer your husband. You are then introduced to your royal advisors, who teach you how the decisions you make will impact life in your kingdom. There are 4 pillars of life in the kingdom which are tracked at the top of the screen: the church, the public, the military, and the treasury. Your advisors explain that while some decisions are beneficial for one aspect of the kingdom, they may not be as beneficial for another. For example, empowering your military may anger the church, and giving aid to the public may deplete the kingdom's wealth. You can see the impact your decision will have on the kingdom by dragging the card to the left or the right without letting go. Doing this, you can see which pillars will be affected and how much of an impact the decision will have, shown by a small or large dot. You are never explicitly told if the decision will be positive or negative for the indicated pillars, and you as the player must deduce this by understanding the decisions you are making. If any of the pillars of your kingdom are raised too high or fall too low, there are consequences that ultimately end your reign as queen. There is a progression system in the form of the various ways your reign can come to an end, labeled as memento mori, and the titles you can earn by achieving milestones, labeled as royal deeds. The Memento Mori collection is a series of portraits that track the various ways your reign came to an untimely end. The Memento Mori collection does not give you any clues towards collecting the portraits, and they must be collected through trial and error. Some are as easy as filling or depleting one of your kingdom's pillars of life, but others are hidden and must be discovered through playing the game. The Royal Deeds collection are milestones that are tied to honorifics that are appended to your name. Royal Deeds will often unlock new events, signified by the addition of new cards, or introduce new items or characters. Not all Royal Deeds are necessary to complete the game's story, but the large number of them provide an extra challenge for the completionist. The characters of Reigns Her Majesty will sometimes give the player clues on how to achieve these milestones. As far as I can tell, it's not possible to control when these clues are given, and this requires the player to pay attention to everything the characters say. Reigns Her Majesty utilizes years and the astrological calendar to signify the passing of time. When your reign ends, the astrological calendar moves to the next sign and you begin again as a new queen in the same kingdom. This design choice adds to the cyclical nature of the game and helps reinforce the theme of the church wishing more pagan beliefs, such as astrology, be limited or banned throughout the kingdom. The beginning section of Reigns Her Majesty acts as a tutorial, with the coronation rite marking the end of the tutorial as you are taught how to use the items that you collect. There are 5 items that you will collect over the course of the game. These items all have different uses and levels of importance to the narrative of the game. For example, in each life the perfume can be used, once per scenario, to charm your way out of a run-ending situation. There are many uses for each item, but because Reigns Her Majesty is largely a puzzle game, I don't want to spoil the experience for anyone that wants to play it. I will say that every item, other than the perfume, can be upgraded 2 times, and some of these upgrades are necessary to finish the game. As you continue playing, you are contacted by an ancient goddess, the All-Mother, who explains that you have been chosen to rule the kingdom as the Forever Queen, but in order to rise to your full power, you must first earn the All-Mother's favor. This revelation immediately changes the perceived goal of the game, and provides exposition towards why after each failed attempt, you start over as a new queen in the same court, in the same kingdom, and no one seems to notice. Rather than rule for as long as possible, you are now tasked with using each life to gather information and solve puzzles that will earn you the All-Mother's crown. The sound design of Reigns Her Majesty is also noteworthy. Every character you encounter speaks in a mumbled gibberish in various pitches and tones, akin to Animal Crossing. This choice injects personality into every character you encounter, without the need for a diverse voice acting cast. The music is composed in such a way that the simplicity of the words, pictures, and sounds all come together to create an immersive experience much greater than the sum of its parts. For a game with very little animation, the music and words alone build and ease tension as they change to match events as they are described. Reigns Her Majesty is a fantastic example of a game that requires the player to learn while playing, and is presented in such a way that effectively conceals the depth that this game truly has. All of the gameplay exists as text and swiping left and right, and the player must utilize various skills such as pattern recognition, reading comprehension, and critical thinking to solve the puzzles that are laid out before them. For example, some conversations with characters are only to affect the pillars of your kingdom, while others are hints towards what you need to accomplish in order to progress the narrative of the game. This responsibility falling only to the player does not come without potential hurdles. Early in the game, because there is minimal instruction, I did not piece together the information I had gathered and was simply trying to rule for as long as possible. This incorrect assumption, coupled with mindlessly making decisions based only on how they would affect the pillars of my kingdom, resulted in a significant period of time where I did not know how to progress. There is a milestone that you achieve by simply ruling up to a certain amount of years, where your reign comes to an end naturally and you are revered and loved as a long-ruling queen. But I had not encountered this ending because I was not being mindful of my decisions. Ironically, a specific character conversation will prompt the player to look outside of the game to try and understand why they are stuck. But being stubborn, I refused to do so until I had reached a level of frustration that almost prompted me to stop playing. When I did eventually look up why I couldn't progress, my glaring mistake became apparent, and I was then able to continue playing the game and unravel the twisted web of puzzles that I was intended to solve. While this was certainly a player-based issue, it does raise the question of whether this confusion could have been avoided. However, the further I progressed into the game, the more I can understand that this misdirection may have been intended by the developers, with the veil being removed when the game explicitly prevents you from continuing in perpetuity. If you have played Reigns and have any thoughts on this matter, please put them in the comments below. Overall, I have to say that Reigns Her Majesty is excellent. The design and writing of each of the characters is charming and entertaining, and the themes are executed extremely well. With such a simple concept married together with an impressive depth and narrative, Reigns Her Majesty is just as gripping as it is easy to play. If you have not already, I highly recommend you give Reigns Her Majesty a shot.